Hey guys, the third week is over and done. How did I do? Hey guys, if you are new here, welcome to Book the Path. I'm Nicole, and if this isn't your first rodeo, thanks for sticking around. If you've been following my videos, you will know that round 2 of sickness has hit our house. Just to give you an update, the boys are on the mend. They are doing well. However, mommy and daddy have come down with it. We're starting to come out of it, but if I sound a little nasally, a little congested, that is where we're at. You will also know that I have a new friend that has joined us. Let's go ahead and I will give you a quick little introduction to her. So basically, I played with dolls when I was a little girl, and I just kind of grew out of it. I was a tomboy growing up, so I just kind of got rid of all of them. And my mom has kind of started getting back into doll collecting, and so she's been kind of sending me messages and having me rate dolls. And there was one night where she was showing me some dolls, and there was one that I liked, and so I said, I like that one. She was wearing this really cute little like jersey made into a dress. And I was like, that's my style. And I was like, I like that one. And she's like, oh, well, that's funny because that doll's name's Nicole. And my, I automatically perked right up because growing up, I could never find a doll, Nicole, that, looked like me. And I kind of wanted one. And I kind of liked her because this is Nicole. And I like her little hair because mine is naturally wavy, but I just found out if I do the scrunchy thing, it goes curly. And so that was kind of cool to find out. But she has, a little basketball kind of jersey that she's turned into a dress. She's got her little athletic gear. And I just really loved her little outfit. I loved that she's part of the Rainbow Dolls. And she is the tomboy. She's like always regarded as the really good friend and the good listener. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like me and a doll. So it was like $14. I had to have it. I had just gotten rid of, I think, my last collector's doll that I had from like my teenage years. It was like a Marilyn Monroe doll. I actually gave that doll to my mom. And here I go, and I buy this one. But I love her. I love that she's from the Shadow High or whatever version of it. I loved that she's kind of the grayscale. So she's sitting right back here for right now. And then she will probably move to somewhere on these shelves at a later date. But I thought she was super cute. And so, yeah, got her. So, week 3, we know that the Green Dragons were placed in third. We were going against the second place team, which I believe was the Team Black Dragons. As of right now, when I'm filming this, I do not know if we won or lost or what, rank we'll be fighting for in the final week to come. It's going to be a surprise. But what I did do for this week, I did get a few things accomplished. So, first up was Fourth Ring. I did touch on this briefly in our last video. I said that I had started it. I was about 120 pages in. I wasn't loving it entirely yet, but that I was warned that, hey, it might take you like 140, 150 pages, 200 pages to start getting into it. And they were not wrong. Once I got to, I think it was like page 150, and they had the gauntlet scene. From then on, it was like boom, 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 boom. Stuff is happening. The storyline picks up greatly. There's a little bit more character development, which is what I was really wanting. If you knew, I felt like the characters were a little bit more stereotypical, one-dimensional. They started to build onto those characters. It still stayed relatively kind of predictable as far as the love triangle that was developing and who she was going to kind of choose, as well as towards the end, a character makes an appearance, and I kind of knew who the character was going to be before they announced it, and it was that character, but it just built so well because it does leave off on a cliffhanger, but it was really good, and I am in love with the little golden dragon. I think I can't remember her name. It's like Aradong or Arad. I can't even remember. We'll just call her little A for right now. She's the little golden dragon, and she's like the baby dragon, and I love her. She's the cutest little thing ever. If anybody knows where they're making little plushies of fourth wing characters and dragons, please let me know, because I need to buy her little creature like immediately. But yeah, this is definitely, I bumped it up to a 5 stars, because once it picked up, it just kept going for like the next, like, what is it, like, I think this book's almost 500 pages, like the next 400 pages were like boom, 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 and it just upgraded from there. I really liked, there were some spicy scenes, and what happens while the spicy scenes are going on was just like, that would be awesome if that really did happen, but that was cool. I liked, obviously the fact that there's, you can communicate with your dragons like telepathically, and just kind of the personality that the dragons are given. Like I said, the little gold dragon, I love her. She's just the sweetest thing. You're also starting to get a sense of Violet and how she's kind of starting to rethink the things she's kind of been taught, re-understand her parents' relationship dynamics a little bit more. And I think we're going to get a lot more of that as the second book comes in, which I believe is Iron Flame. And I think that's actually coming out, I want to say early November. So I will be ready to get that one underway so I can see where they go from this, because I have thoughts, but I can't share thoughts, because if I share thoughts, then it's a big spoiler. So let's just say I have thoughts. I have predictions, and I want to see if they come true or not. Kind of hoping they don't, but it kind of feels like they might. But either way, I know that's so confusing for you guys. Either way, fantastic book. I am on the team 5-star reads for this. So 5 stars, 500 points, 14 Green Dragon. Next, I wanted to further my bond with my dragon, and there was a prompt for that. And to do that, you needed to read a book in a series. So I went and picked up Heated Rivals by Katie Roberts. This is the second book in the O'Malley's series, which was previously published under different titles, but they're being re-released. And this is all about kind of the mafia syndicates in Boston. And the first one was Dark Succession, and that was a 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed the tension that was done in that, the relationships, everything kind of coming together. This one I ended up giving 4 stars to. It kind of the way that it was going through. The setup for the 2 main characters in this, Kerrigan and James, you meet them briefly in Dark Succession, and the things that happen between them in the first book builds up to what you would believe to be like one of the most epic enemies to lovers possible plots ever. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. They went really quickly from that enemies part to lovers parts to being like secrets to, it just went and developed really quickly for me, where I felt that certain twists in the plot line would have done a little bit better. You have Kerrigan, who is Teague's sister from the first one, and it is now her turn to get married. Her father is basically using her as a pawn, and gives her a list of men she has to choose off the list. Obviously, James is not on the list because of the Halloran and O'Malley rivalry that's going on and the stuff that happened in the first book. But she can never really get over James, and likewise, James is like pretty much obsessed with her. And so they're kind of having a secret relationship while she's trying to find which guy on the list she should be with. And what I would have loved to have seen differently in this is, I would have loved to have James throw his hat in the ring and be a contender on the list, that despite the rivalries between the O'Malleys and the Hallorans, her father, Kerrigan's father, who's really like power hungry, would have seen the pros basically of uniting their family with the Hallorans, because they've already united with the Sheridans in the first one. So basically the O'Malleys would have a hand in all of the families in Boston. And then from that point on, it would really be the Kerrigan versus James enemies to lovers kind of tension. But that didn't happen. It was just the list was given, and then you had this secret relationship going on between Kerrigan and James. Towards the end, it did build up a little bit, and we got a little bit of like action, and I thought that it would go a little bit differently there too to create just a little bit more tension. It didn't go through, so that's why it's like down to a 4-star for me, because it was still really good. I liked the fact that in this one you're starting to see the different points of view of some of the other O'Malley characters and kind of what the expectations are for how they're going to start having to be auctioned off or merged with other things, or what's going to kind of go on in their lives. And it's starting to build up their characters so that you can kind of see what their relationship component may or may not be. And they did do that with Killian, who is Teague's younger brother. I think there is a female bartender that he is starting to kind of develop for, and so I'm thinking that might be the next book that comes out. So we shall see. But like I said, Mafia Romance, I gave it 4 stars, which equaled 400 points for Team Green Dragon. And in completing this, I now have a deeper bond with my dragon. So yay! And up next for my final book, I have talked about this before. I started it earlier this month, finally finished it, and that is I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. This was our challenge accepted pick for the month. This one I ended up giving 2 stars to. This was a book that was recommended to me by my mom when I was a lot younger. She said it was one of her favorites, that it made her cry. I did not cry. I actually remember texting her a few weeks into this, asking what the heck did she recommend. I can see why this is obviously like a school copy. I'm assuming it's for a psychology class, because this does deal with mental illness. This book was basically first published in 1964, I believe, and the characters in it are basically post-World War II. You have a 16-year-old girl named Deborah who is diagnosed with schizophrenia, and this is basically her journey as she is brought to a psychiatric institute in the 50s, and kind of how she's going through her therapies and her experiences. It did remind me a little bit of Girl Interrupted when she would communicate with the other female patients in the ward. Just the dynamics there. It was a very, like, this is not a happy book. It is not a happy book. To me, there wasn't even really like the big happy ending that you might be hoping for. But in this book, she is diagnosed with schizophrenia, and she basically has, like, she exists in the regular real world, and then she also has this world of ear or ire or whatever that has like gods and that oversee it, and there's like a warden or whatever in this world, and it has its rules. And as it goes on, you start to find out what kind of triggered her to create this world or be in this world or have this world find her. You see how her illness is affecting the other family members. And you're starting to understand these social aspects to the diagnosis and how the diagnosis came about. What I wasn't sure of, and I do not have a psychology degree, I am not an expert on any psychological disorders whatsoever. This is just my, from what I've been led to understand. This book made it seem like schizophrenia was kind of a social diagnosis, like it could be cured because it happened socially, or throughout the family being like raised this way. It was nurture versus it being a natural thing. And I don't think that's the case. I'm not sure. I have only actually met like one person who was diagnosed with schizophrenia before in my life, and I very much thought it was a biological thing, that there was a component to it there. So I am not sure, but this book made it seem like it was something that was triggered by social relationships and the history and upbringing that this young girl had, which was extremely traumatic. So on top of having the mental, the topic of mental illness in here, there is a trigger for attempted suicide. There's also triggers for bullying, for racism, anti-Semitism. So it is a very heavy, hard-hitting topic book, which is why, despite it being so thin, it was taking me a lot to get through because there's a lot of very heavy material to digest. But I wanted to do it because, like I said, it was something that was a very meaningful book for my mom at a point in her life, that she read. And I can see in the 60s, this being something like, oh my God, wow, this is like, you know, eye-opening on so many levels, because it does talk about the condition of the psychiatric institutes and the treatments that these young girls would be subjected to. So you kind of get that window into that world, and it's hard. It is hard hitting. I ended up giving it 2 stars because storyline wise, when you break it down to the story, I don't feel like I walked away with much. I don't feel like I had any more understanding of schizophrenia. I don't really felt like she was cured or whatever it is. The kind of ending didn't, like, I got it. I got the development. I got where she was, but it wasn't as, like, I guess as much as I was hoping for. It also, for me, the writing style in it, I don't know if they meant to go between where 1 minute she's talking to the doctors or talking to people, and then all of a sudden she's like in her world talking to the gods or listening in on that or reflecting on that, because there's no real transitions. It's just very choppy, and it breaks and breaks and breaks into these new things. So you feel like you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out in both of these worlds too. And I don't know if that was done on purpose to make you feel what she feels, which if that's the case, then well done, because I was, I had no idea. But otherwise, it just took you a while to be like, okay, wait, what? Okay, now. And so it was just the breaks in it, and the ways that the layout kind of was in the book just was very kind of confusing, not very well put together. You kind of had to reread it a few times to make sure that you were understanding what was going on. And by the end of it, I just kind of found myself skimming a lot of the pages to just kind of figure out where she was going, because it was just getting too choppy, too broken up, and I was just losing interest. So I will still give it 2 stars because there were aspects to it that were very interesting. Like I said, how it was affecting the family, how these early childhood situations could be traumatic to trigger some sort of mental illness or identity crisis, something like that. It was very easy to see how everything could build up to the suicide attempt and where she was at the beginning of the book once you start finding that out. I did not cry, like I said. Even when I called my mom and asked her about it, she was like, if I read it now, maybe I wouldn't feel the same way about it. So, like I said, I think it's a product of its time. I was still kind of left wondering about it. So I gave it 2 stars, but that's still 200 points for Team Green Dragon. And so with that being said, that would be my total is 500, 400, 900. So 1,100 points this week for Team Green Dragon. Is it enough for us to take the win? I don't know. I will have to find out and let you guys know as we go on. So with that being said, I think I only have about 3 more books that I had on my TBR to read, which that does seem like it's getting close, but it might be good. For one that I'm reading right now, I believe is Paradise Club, which is the Book Club Unlimited pick for this month. That is a shorter pick. It's under 300 pages, so I'm hoping to get through that quickly. And then I think I have 2 more books left. One is a double up for Magical Readathon. If you remember, we have the Year in Aurelium. So I know I want to get that one done in this month. And then the last book I think I have is to finish that bonding prompt with your dragon of being able to get, I think, a saddle for your dragon. So we will see how far I get. We will see how many points I get. And we will see if Team Green Dragon can, who knows, maybe at this point as I'm talking, we've beaten the second place team and we're up for battle for first, or we didn't and we're in the battle for third, and hopefully we can keep and maintain 3rd place. Either way, it's been interesting, and we will just continue to fight our way through and see how many points I can get this week. And I will let you know as soon as I find out where we're standing and how we go. And with that being said, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Let me know how you guys are doing in the comments below, what you're reading, if you are on any of these teams, what are you looking forward to, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.